Coping in Confined Spaces, a presentation by Olivier Colleron. Welcome everyone, and let's start this webinar. I would like to start this webinar with 3 quotes, and the first one is, "Every prison has its window." It's a quote of Gilbert Galton. The other one is, "The human mind will not be confined to any limits." And this is a quote of Goethe. And the third one is, "When there's room in the heart, there is room in the house." And this is a Danish saying. Those 3 quotes helped me to prepare this webinar, because they are clearly encouraging people to find a way to better copy with challenges like the COVID-19 and the confinement. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us and to take the moment to watch this webinar. And also, I would like to congratulate you, because you are taking care of yourself by being here with me right now and taking the time to watch. You are taking care of yourself, so congratulations. And therefore, I would like you to congratulate yourself. We don't do it enough, so take this moment right now. I will give you a signal to congratulate yourself. So close your eyes right now and congratulate yourself for taking the time to watch the video and to take care of yourself. Take a deep breath in, breathe out, and you may open your eyes. So now we can start. The content of that webinar will be, first of all, explain you why confinement is challenging. Then we will look at what to do to overcome the challenge. And finally, I will share some few easy tips. Who am I? So I'm your host. I'm Olivier Colleron. I am a confidence coach, and I help highly sensitive people struggling with suffering to overcome them and gain self-confidence. I've been acting instructor for 20 years and also director. And in 2003, I got the Lyme disease, and I healed from it through a technique. And this technique helped me so much to see life and challenges differently, but also to realize that in my life, I've been overcome traumas by myself. And therefore, I started studying that technique. And when we moved in New York 10 years ago, I started my practice. First of all, I was helping expat partners to bounce back professionally and also to deal better with the cultural shock and the stress related to relocation. And I realized that all expat partners had also kind of a high sensitivity. So I decided to help mainly highly sensitive people to overcome sufferings. As I told you, I had so many traumas, and the last one I could share is being victim of a terrorist attack back in 2016, where I learned to overcome even that kind of trauma. This is why I feel fully confident now to share my view and my tips on how to deal with the confinement. Why are you are here today? You are here because you have a hard time with confinement. It's hard for you. There are maybe some emotions you are not you are dealing with emotions that are hard for you. Also, you can be here because you have no vision for the future, no prospects, toward the future. You don't know where we are going, where the world is going, and this is creating some anxiety, and so related to the confinement too. Or maybe you are here by curiosity, just curious to listen what I am sharing about confinement. Maybe you are a therapist or a coach, and you want to check what I and how I am explaining the situation. So whatever the reason you are here, you did well to log in. I'm sure you will learn something today with me. So, confinement, this is the topic of today, and why confinement can be challenging. So, the confinement can be challenging because it is a restriction of personal freedom. The personal freedom is your ability to go where you want, to say what you want, and to do what you want. It's freedom, liberty. And as soon as they suggested us to stay at home, so lockdown started, some might have felt it like a restriction. You can't leave your home, or you have to be very careful in what you do and your moves. So this can be create stress. Another kind of restriction is is the freedom of action. The freedom of action is your possibility to hug people, or to travel, or to do exactly what you want. It's so people feel completely locked. The other one is a sign of external threat. It's challenging because as soon as they talk of the pandemic, um, they were talking about a threat, so a danger. Stay at home to protect yourself, which means that outside there might be a threat. It's challenging also because all of a sudden you are forced to share a space full time, even though you are with your loved ones, your relatives, your spouse, or your kids. All of a sudden you have to share the space full time. You have to stay all together all the time, which is not easy for some of us, since some had to keep working too. It can be challenging also because it's an invasion of personal space. As I just say, you are spending or sharing the space full time, and uh, everybody might be all the time in your own personal space. Maybe it's hard for you to have your own personal moment, because there is always someone close to you. And finally, that could be challenging because the threat is in the household. Maybe you had already some tension in your couple or with your kids, and now that you are confined, those tensions are more present. And this is a threat for your health, and you don't know how to manage it. So all of those points are why the confinement can be challenging. And I realized that actually walls and houses are normally the symbol of protection. And for some of us, as soon as we were confined, walls became a distress. Okay, so walls equals distress. Before going further, I would like to give you a list of signs to take into account to understand or to know if you are dealing with or if you have a real hard time with confinement. Let's start with the first one, is fatigue. Fatigue is, even though you are sleeping well, the day seems heavy. Everything you have to do is very heavy. You feel the need to have some nap. So fatigue is one of the signs. Emotions, your emotions are going up and down. Maybe you are laughing out loud and then you start crying, or you are getting upset quite easily, and then you laugh, and then you get tired. So all your emotions are going up and down like a yo-yo. You can be also overactive. You can't stay home. You have always something to do. You are going out to run, then you come back, then you get out again um, to to do grocery, then you come back, you clean the house, then you do the dinner, and then you are overactive. You never rest. There's also another option of being overactive. It's in your thought. So you never stop thinking that you should do yoga, you should go for groceries, you should do things. So you think about it, but you don't do it. You are also overactive, even though it's in your thought. Another sign is the poor sleep, the poor quality of your sleep. If you don't sleep 9 and you fall asleep only in the morning, or you sleep just 2 hours and then you don't sleep for the rest of the night. Another sign also is eating and drinking more than usual. Of course, we are referring to drinking alcohol or soda. If you are drinking more, it's also a sign of stress, of discomfort. You can also have a constant anxiety. That the anxiety can be like a pressure on your chest, or on your front head, or in the shoulder. Not easy to breathe, or you have a short breath. This is sign of a constant anxiety. Maybe you are worrying about others' well-being all the time, more than yours. So you want to be sure that your kids are good, or you are calling your family 3 times a day, asking your partner if everything is going okay. So you're worrying too much for others. Maybe you have an unknown fear. You can feel that there's something threatening you, or you are afraid of, but you can't say exactly what it is. Um, so you can feel stuck and you don't know why. You can be also complaining about everything, very negative comments on what you see, on what people say, or you don't feel comfortable, or nothing is good enough for you. You are complaining everything about everything. You need more affection. You are looking for some cuddles or kisses or hugs, and your need of affection is higher than usual. You have also a lack of motivation. Everything you want to do, it's no interest for you, or you are procrastinating everything you have to do. um, you you don't have the motivation. Lack of focus. Maybe someone is talking to you and you start thinking about another thing, or while you start working on something, you right away go on Facebook or Instagram, or you spend a lot of time on your phone. You start watching a movie, and then at the same time you will pick up your phone and stuff like that. You might also need to watch the news compulsively. You are all the time looking for information, more and more and more again. And finally, and one of the most important, is feeling lonely. Even though you are at home with your loved one, with your spouse and kids, you feel lonely. You feel like if you were alone. And this is important to recognize it. So maybe you have one or more of those signs. It's good to list them. And what I would like to tell you is all those signs are normal. And I can say they are normal because they are natural. And what do I mean by natural is that they are actually a biological response to a danger. When you are crossing the street and you see a truck coming to you, you are reacting. You have a reaction to protect yourself. So as I told you, the confinement is related also to a threat, maybe an outside or inside threat. So you find a way to protect yourself. And the biological response can be the lack of motivation for staff because you need to save some energy, or maybe you are not sleeping during night because you need to stay aware. You know, your biology is helping you to stay awake in case something is coming. So those reactions are temporary solutions that your biology is providing to you. And yet this cannot last too long. You can't stay because you are using, they are saving or saving energy for you. However, since it's a temporary solution, if you are with the anxiety all the time, you can have some serious issues like a stress disorder, illnesses, or a breakdown, which is very serious. So what we want, what is behind this reaction, this threat that you have, or this uncomfort with the confinement, is the perception of the situation. It's not the situation itself that is creating anxiety or the lack of motivation or the loneliness, the feeling of being lonely. It's your perception of the situation, is the way you see and feel and understand the situation. It's also maybe a resistance to a possible outcome. So the situation itself can be beneficial, and the outcome is not maybe the one you want, or maybe you are realizing that that situation is providing you an outcome and you don't want it. It is a solution, or there is something that will happen and you don't want it. So you are resisting as much as possible. And also, it's a resistance to the reality of the situation. Maybe, as I said, there were already tension within your couple, and now that you are all together, you are facing the issue in your couple, or something you have to fix in your family, or at your work, you are now facing that you have to deal with it and fix it. So, however, the fact that you have to deal with and fix it is stressing you out. So you are creating a resistance. What you can do is, we are talking now about adjustment. So what to do is resilience. And resilience is the ability to mentally or emotionally cope with a crisis, or to return to pre-crisis status quickly. This is what I'm calling bouncing back. It's the possibility to manage a situation stress-free. And you start adjusting as soon as you improve the resilience. Okay, so you are, as soon as you stop seeing the situation as stressful, you are using your resilience. And since you are doing it, you are adjusting. And the more you improve the resilience, the more you adjust and reach the mastery. As soon as you reach the mastery, you are at 100% resilient and you are managing situations. However, I have to remind you something, that you are an expatriate. And also, as an expatriate, you live in a host country. And since you live in a host country, you the culture of the country, it's not yours. All those 3 points create some stress and anxiety. Why? Because as an expatriate, maybe the country is not dealing or managing the situation as it is managed in your country. Also, you feel that you don't have the same protection as being in your family, because you would be closer of your family, close of your friends. And so all the action, the health situation, the political situation might be totally different of your point of view, and you feel distressed, you feel maybe in danger. So the stress as a expatriate is slightly higher than for a local. And then I have to remind you that you are an expat spouse. If you are an expat spouse, you have, by definition, you are already dealing with a little bit more stress, because if you have a job, that's okay, but maybe you are not earning as much as your partner or spouse, and this creates some stress and anxiety, because you would like to get more money, and if you had more money, you could manage better the situation, for instance. Also, that creates self-depreciation if you don't have a job, or if you have a job, as I said, when you don't have enough money, or you are not able to help your family as you would like, you are self-depreciating yourself. And of course, it is creating some guilt. So as an expat spouse, also you had maybe some routine that you liked, and all of a sudden the confinement changed everything for you. You have everything at home. You don't have those moments that you were taking care of yourself and you were spending time with other expat spouse, and you are not allowed to do it anymore. So it is hard for you. You are facing some challenging situation. Your need of adjustment to the crisis is bigger than the lockout's needs, okay? Because for everybody, the confinement, the lockdown is very stressful. But for the reason I just shared to you, as an expatriate, it might be a little bit higher. And yet, you are more resilient than you think. And how I can say that you are more resilient than you think is because you you experience the culture shock, and the culture shock is what comes just after the announcement of the relocation. So for some of us, it's a honeymoon, like they say, or it's the period where you are realizing where you're going and organizing the relocation, and then you are getting in the new city or the new country, and you are dealing with stuff like the price of the food, the language, the schools, the renting a place, a new organizations, a new job, and this is stressful. That can be stressful and create some issues and some struggles too. And in the bottom of the curves, you have the culture shock, is when you feel that you won't be able to manage the situation anymore. And this is where the bouncing back is happening. So you are using your resilience to adjust. And slowly, you are not stressed anymore. You don't have the anxiety anymore. And this can take between 6 months to 2 years to fully master the situation. However, as an expatriate, and even more an expat spouse, your capacity of resilience is quite higher than other people because it's a survival need. So regarding the lockdown, I used exactly the same curve to show you that you are able to adjust and you are resilient. The difference with the lockdown is we are talking about weeks rather than months. And I don't want to talk about honeymoon, but more about realization, that phase of realization. They just announced the pandemic and then the lockdown. So we are realizing everything we have to do and how we will deal with. And then every day there's a new challenge, maybe how we will manage the school thing, how we will manage to have enough food. And this is stressing us out. And maybe you are now at the bottom of the curve. You are in full lockdown shock. This is why you have a lack of motivation. This is why you are overactive. This is why you are procrastinating everything you are doing, because you are dealing now with the lockdown shock. This is a sign that you will now bounce back and use the resilience and adjust and master. So yes, you are resilient, definitely. What is happening, as I said, is your biology, so your body and your mind are reminding it to you. Now you feel that you can be resilient and move forward. What you can do to improve your resilience. I'm sharing you that quote of David Hawkins. It's in truth, it is not the events in life that have any importance, but their meaning to us. Okay, so as I said, it's the perception of the situation that is important to change. As soon as you will change your perception, as you will manage better the situation. And I, to be able to change your perception is starting seeing as the problem is the way. If you keep seeing the situation, the confinement as an issue for yourself, it will be an issue. If you start seeing it as a solution, a possibility for you, and start getting the benefits of it, that will be actually a solution. And so the problem is the way. And as I said at the beginning, every prison has its window. The confinement is something challenging for everybody, but again, if you decide to see it more openly with a solution, you will go further. And the solution, so, is the introspection, is turning the situation around by looking what is happening in yourself. And I have one question for you. You can work on it, is how did I want this confinement? How did I want this confinement? By answering that question for yourself, you are starting introspecting and start finding a way to see the situation as a solution and find the benefits. Here are now my tips. Of course, I'm sure you read a lot of tips telling you that you had to organize your day, to move, etc., etc. All those tips are amazing and very good, but we have to take into account that when the confinement is difficult to deal with, we are not able to apply, and it's normal. Okay, so my first tips is leave yourself alone. Leave yourself alone. Give yourself a break. If you are now having a hard time, It's important to stop blaming yourself because you are not doing everything you should do. It's a stressful period and you need to rest maybe and to just slow down, and it's normal. So leave yourself alone, even though you could do better stuff. That's okay. So this is my first step. Tell yourself, okay, leave leave yourself alone. You have to tell yourself that. My second tips is acknowledge and accept. You have to acknowledge that you have a hard time, that it's hard for you, and accept it. By being here today, you are acknowledging that you have an issue with what is happening. However, writing down and tell it honestly to yourself will help you to accept the situation. And as soon as you accept it, you won't be in the resistance anymore, and you will be able to adjust. Another simple tips is breathe. Just bring your attention into your breath. No need to do very complicated exercises. It's just check how you breathe, and maybe help yourself to breathe a little bit deeper each time you are focusing on your breath. Stop watching news or watch a minimum of news. The news are a stress, stressing way. So it's better to just watch just a little bit to be informed of what is going on. But it's better to reduce the amount of news if you are already stressing out. Establish one daily habit. If it's there is not, it's simpler, easier than start scheduling and organize your time. It's just deciding that you will do one thing a day. Just that could be drink a glass of water once a day, at the morning at 9 a.m. That can be as simple as that, or just every day at 11 you will open the window and just look for 5 minutes through the window. It's a simple thing that you can do, and as soon as you are doing it, you will be able to add more stuff in your routine. Or maybe you can decide that the day for everybody is over, the work day is over at 5 for everybody. This is something that almost everybody can apply, and it's easy for everybody. Okay, no more than that, and then you will be able to do more. Appreciate yourself, give yourself some respect, and congratulate yourself as we did at the beginning, but appreciate also everything you are doing. So before going to bed, just journal everything you did. And most importantly, small thing like you washed the dishes, or you cooked chicken, or you read a book, or you talked with a colleague. Those are small things that can sound like, okay, it's normal to do that, but you need to appreciate yourself in those moments. You need to get back on track and confident, and just appreciate everything you are doing. So list all those actions, all those tasks that you did, and take a moment for yourself every day, 5 minutes, no more, and more if you can, but this moment is for you. It's not only about meditating. It can be, if you are reading, when you read, you said, this moment is for me. If you are listening music, you can say, this moment is for me. If you are watching a movie, even though you are in family, you can say, that moment is for myself. And finally, share your feeling. It is important you find a way to share your feeling. That can be with your spouse, or with your therapist, or with friends or relatives, or even with someone in your expat partner association. And it's important for me also to share with you some support. So you can call or visit the 311 if you are located in New York or around. You will get some information related to the city, but also how to manage the COVID-19 situation. They can refer some specialists to you. Of course, if you feel that the distress is higher or you are in a very stressful situation, you can call 911. You can also visit psychologytoday.com, which is a website with full information about mental health. You can also find specialists with reviews and advice. If you are having a hard time, it's very hard, and you need some feedback and support, you can visit NAMI.org, and NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. You can also visit and call the National Domestic Violence Hotline if things are getting bad in your household. And finally, you can contact your local association for expatriate and expat partners. If you are located in New York, and related to the United Nations, you have NYLESA. You have also expat.org, Tandem Nomads. All those association and services can help you to better feel better and express and share your feelings. So that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for watching that webinar. By attending here, you already did a step forward, and a step closer to feel better. You can reach me at oli@olicaudron.com, and you can also visit my website if you want more information. Stay strong, stay safe, and be happy as soon as you can. Bye-bye now.